if you are just joining us, to the beautiful area of Wisconsin, which boasts, of course, fabulous farmland as well as lakeside pursuits. And it is at Elkhart Lake, Wisconsin, that we find ourselves this weekend. 14 corners, 4.048 miles in a brilliant and breathtakingly beautiful parkland setting. We've been bouncing around the northeast of North America into the central belt now as we've come across from Lakeville, Connecticut to be here this weekend for the IMSA events. Rises and falls are really the story of this historic circuit. From the heights of the front straight and turn one down to the lowest point of the circuit towards Canada Corner. And those 14 corners have been a constant in this track since it was laid down in the 1950s. Road racing was always the order of the day in these parts until it became too dangerous on the public roads. And that's why this venue was put together, and it has been kept together since. And our first qualifying will be for the GTD Daytona category, topping out at well over 160, 170 miles an hour here, one of the fastest places that we go to. Running on Continental tyres with Audi, BMW, Ferrari, Lamborghini and others taking to the track in, well, I was going to say in a moment's time. We've actually got the green flag already as the cars are rolling out onto the circuit. Shea Adam, as you've heard, is down in pit lane. Jeremy Shaw is alongside me. And once again, worth pointing out for those people who perhaps are new or have forgotten, a very simple attitude towards qualifying by IMSA in their championships. And the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship is no different, Jeremy. Basically, put 15 minutes on the clock, send the guys out, and the guys who have the fastest time start at the front of the field.
No messing around, no putting on fresh sets of tyres and trying to go faster and faster and faster. Nope, just one opportunity, or one set of tyres at least. Get out there, do your best job, bring it back in, start the race tomorrow in the order which you qualified today, and on the same set of, for 3 of the 4 classes, Continental tyres.
Yeah, Michelin's in the GTLM class, which we'll see in a moment. Nothing to choose, Jeremy, in the earlier sessions between the top half dozen or 10 cars in this, and really only a fool or someone who had particularly brilliant inside information would put a large amount of money on who was going to be on pole position in 13.5 minutes time. Yeah,
right. 10 cars within a second and a gnat's whisker in practice in the final session this morning. Lamborghinis are certainly looking strongly this weekend. First and third they were, but they were split by the Porsche, and the Porsche teams claim that they don't have a car as quick as some of the other contenders at the moment. Well, unfortunately, Alex Ribas put the light to that one, because he set the second quickest time this morning, just a scant, what was he behind? A tenth of a second behind Brian Sellers in the Paul Miller Racing Lamborghini Huracan. But yeah, we've got all these cars, Audis, BMWs, Porsches, Ferrari even. Dodge Viper wasn't particularly quick this morning, not quite sure why, because it was quick all weekend long. Yeah.
80 car in particular. If I had to pick one, I would say, just because they've been so consistently quick in all the sessions, probably the 48 Paul Miller Racing car would be the pick for me. Yep. Madison Snow has gone out in that car to qualify. Through goes the number 80 Viper in front of us, and also the 33 Viper as well, which has got Ben Keating behind the wheel. Strategy will play a part here, because the driver who qualifies, Jeremy, does have to start the race, and it has been part of the tactics of most of the teams in recent times to have the non-pro driver, this is a Pro-Am category, the non-pro driver qualify and start the race, get the time required in the book for your non-pro, and then put your pro in to bring the neck of the car through to the end of the race. There's been a few exceptions to that, but generally speaking, that's how it's happened. So lap records aren't what we're looking for here. We are looking for the order in which these guys will line up. Madison Snow, by the way, coming to the line in front of us now and goes across the line in the silver, red and black Lambo.
We've had 7 races this season, and we've had 6 different fastest qualifiers in the GTD class. Norbert Siedler at the first round, Jeff Siegel on the pole at Sebring. At Madison Raceway, it was Alex Riberas. He's the only guy who've scored 2 poles, because another one at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. In the interim, there was at Detroit, it was Brian Sellers. At Watkins Glen, it was... Who was at Watkins Glen? Oh, that's Riberas. No, big one. Who was at Watkins Glen? Okay, I'll come back and find that one. It's disappearing off my charts now. Was that because... Was that going down? Okay, I'll come back to that one. Oh no, wait a minute. Beg your pardon. That was Mario Farnbacher at Watkins Glen. Wrong piece of paper. And then at Lime Rock Park last time out, it was Spencer Papelli in a Lamborghini. So a good spread there of cars, drivers, and just about everything else you can imagine. So this should be a really close fought session. And we'll see who is qualifying. It's Madison Snow, isn't it, from number 48 car.
That's what it do say on the screen.
It does. And he's a quick driver, so this could be, it's pretty much wide open, but certainly the number 23 car, perhaps that might be favoured for a 3rd pole, but not by very much, that's for sure.
Ben Keating sets the pace with a 2:10.599. Brett Curtis 2:10.7. 13 threes for John Potter and Christina Nielsen. So Dodge Viper 33 from BMW 96, from Audi 44, from Ferrari 63. Somehow I don't think that will stay like that for very long. Christina Nielsen has bagged the pole this season, hasn't she?
No.
She wasn't in that list that you just mentioned. No. She might be due for one here. Andrew Davis in the 6 Audi, Michael Mazal in the 97 BMW, Dan Knox in the number 80, the returning Lone Star Motorsport Dodge Viper.
Christina Nielsen, however, did start 2nd fast. She qualified the car 2nd quickest at Mazda Raceway, Laguna Seca. Also, both at Lime Rock Park last time out and at Watkins Glen, she qualified in the 4th position. So she's certainly shown extremely good qualifying pace in that Scuderia Corsa Ferrari 488 GT3.
Cable McNeil to the top with the 22 Alex Job racing car, 209.0. 77 is David McNeil, and yes, they are related. That's father David and son Cooper, from round these parts, of course. The gap at the head of the field between Cooper McNeil and Madison Snow, 0.3 of a second. Through has just gone Luca Persiani in the 27 Lamborghini. He's in 6th position. So 22 Porsche, Cooper McNeil, 48 Madison Snow Lamborghini, Ben Keating 33 Dodge Viper, Brett Curtis 96 BMW, Patrick Lindsay to 2nd in the 73 Porsche, 6th Matt Bell in the number 6 Audi.
I certainly put my money on Spencer Papelli in this session, that's for sure.
Ben Keating back to the top of the charts with a 2:08.7.
A little bit away. I expect times to be at least a 2nd faster than that, if not perhaps a bit more. But just getting up to speed with these cars. That was just a 2nd flying lap for both Ben Keating and Brett Curtis. Alex Riberas goes to the top there on his 1st flying lap, however. Number 23, Spirit of Racing, number 23 Porsche, 28.1. There's Spencer.
Andrew Davies goes to the top in the 6 Audi now, 2:07.7. So this is starting to get more like it. Getting down to business now. 15 cars have set times.
Spencer Papelli slots into 3rd place on that lap. He was quickest in the 1st sector, but not in either of the next 2 sectors. Lost out about 4/10 in the final sector, about 4/10 also in the middle part of the lap.
Alex Riberas quickest in the 2nd sector and Andrew Davies in the 3rd. So once again, seeing different drivers and different cars. That's Audi, Porsche and Lamborghini in respectively quickest in 3rd, 2nd and 1st sectors.
Yeah, and behind them at the moment is the Viper of Ben Curtis, and then the BMW of, excuse me, the Viper of Ben Keating and the BMW of Brett Curtis. So 5 different cars in the top 5 at the moment, but of course still plenty of time to go in this qualifying session.
Well, you say that, 6.5 minutes.
Yeah, true.
It does tick down very quickly, doesn't it?
3 laps or so, though. That's plenty of time for things to change.
Yeah, oh, I'm sure it will as well.
The purple sector there in sector 1 for Spencer Pumpelli. Number 16, Change Racing Lamborghini. That's the primarily green car.
Matt Bell goes up to 3rd position in the number 9 Audi with a 2.082. So 4 tenths between 1st and 2nd. That's Andrew Davis for Audi number 6.
Spencer Pumpelli's come up behind Dan Knox there in the carousel. That'll likely cost him a little bit of momentum on what is quite like to be perhaps that car's best opportunity. The Continental tyres really at their best around about now laps 3 or 4 or 5, and that's certainly going to cost him a little bit of time. He's going to make the move, I think, going into Canada Corner, and then definitely there's definitely more time in that number 16 Orion Lamborghini. The Orion Energy Systems based in Manitowoc, Wisconsin, so very close to here. Got a lot of sponsors guests here this weekend for Change Racing, and Spencer's really hanging that car out through turn 13.
Through to the final corner, the right-hander all the way onto the concrete runoff, but gets the car back on before he drops the left-hand side Continentals into the dirt. Alex Riberas at the top of the moment, 2:07.5, and the Porsche is good in the middle sector. Andrew Davis then 2nd for Audi in the 6, 23.6, 33.9. So that's Porsche, Audi, Dodge, Audi, then the 2 Lambos, the 16 and the 48. And top 6 separated by less than a second.
2:06.7, the fastest time in this morning's 3rd and final practice session by Brian Sellers, number 48, Paul Miller Racing Lamborghini. 2:07.520, the quickest time so far in this session by Alex Riberas. Cooper McNeil brings number 22, WeatherTech Porsche onto pit lane.
Beautiful afternoon, a little bit of a shimmer.
Maybe we might have run off the road, just cleaning out the grill on that car.
A little bit of a shimmer in the air in terms of a bit of a heat haze. It's not overly hot, but the temperatures on the track are pleasant. A little bit of a breeze, just a tiny bit of breeze, not as much as there was yesterday, but certainly it's only t-shirt weather, shirt sleeve order out there in the paddock at the moment, and absolutely perfect afternoon to go and watch motor racing under the shade of a tree somewhere around the 4 miles of Road America. All right, down to the money laps now, under 4 minutes. Across the line for the Viper number 33, and that's 2:08.475, so Ben Keating doesn't improve from his 4th, very creditable 4th position. 23 going very slowly, Alex Riberas running across the rumble strip of Canada Corner, but very slow, maybe winding up to a quick one and wanting to find some space on the circuit. Audi goes through. Number 6 car, Andrew Davies. Not quite as quick as he has done in the past. Matt Bell's just put his fastest lap in at 2:07.893. So now it's Porsche, Audi, Dodge. And then 3 Lamborghinis, 23.69.33. Then 16, 27 and 48. All still separated by just 8 tenths of a second. Riberas to the pit lane. So that car will pull in opposite us, the Heart of Racing multicoloured blue car.
Excellent job by the Spaniard there. Just 3 laps, yeah, just 2 flying laps then and bring it back in. Save those Continental tyres for tomorrow's race and set down a really quick lap as well. Good effort by Alex Riberas.
So he has basically said to everyone in the last couple of laps, 2:07.5, there you go, that's my score. Leader in the clubhouse, if you will.
Yeah.
Try and beat it. Cooper McNeil has gone back out in the 22. This is his out lap. He'll get 1 more lap after this, and that will be the one that has to count. Down in 10th position for McNeil at the moment, for Cooper McNeil. Excuse me. David McNeil sitting in 15th at the moment. coming back to the championship.
Maybe it's first start in this championship as it is right now at Daytona during 24 hours. Could have done a lot of racing in the past, including he's actually driven this car here at Road America before. Came here for the Hawk Vintage races a few weeks ago, when it was. It's been updated since then from 2011 car to 2016 Porsche GT3 RM.
63 car. Slightly further down than they would have wanted, maybe. Or Christina Nielsen, in fact, bounces up to 5th position last time through. So that's a little better. So 23 Porsche, 6 Audi, 9 Audi, 33 Dodge, 63 Ferrari, outside of row 3. Then the 3 Lamborghini, 16, 27 and 48 in quick order.
It's a surprise. There goes Spencer Papelli across the line and does not improve. So he is still down in the 6th place, and that's going to be not what he's just coming off a victory, of course, just what, 20 minutes, half an hour ago maybe, in the Continental Tire Sports Car Challenge. Runs hugely wide in turn 1, using an awful lot of real estate there. It's a lot farther to go around there, Spencer. It's not the quickest way. So I think the Continental Tires are past their optimal grip level, I would suggest, in that number 16 car. And he'll be really frustrated with himself, I believe, because he knows there's more in the car than that. He's already shown it earlier on today.
Coming down the last 11 seconds before the checkered flag comes out. If you're on a quick one, if you pass the line now, you would get that next lap. But the next time you come to the line, 1 second to go.
It's Persiani.
For Persiani,
definitely made it through. It's showing a C here, but I reckon he made it through before the checker, don't you?
I agree.
It was a 209.1 for Luca Persiani.
Yeah, it's been taken away, correct. And I think he was winding up to that. Into the pit lane comes the number 9 of Matt Bell, will be no better than 3rd for the Audi R8. 200 Audi R8s, racing cars, have been built and delivered to customers now.
It's remarkable. 3rd on the grid, Matt Bell was at Lime Rock Park last time out a couple of weeks ago. Looking to emulate that, but still a few people out there who could perhaps knock him off that perch. Patrick Lindsay across the line does improve on that lap, but no better than 9th for car number 73. Brett Curtis, he was on a fairly good lap, but he didn't improve either by about a 10th of a second. Brett Curtis in number 96. Turner Motorsport BMW, he'll make do with 10th place. That's the car that won a couple of rounds ago. He and Jens Klingman, who has set the fastest lap in each of the last 2 races, incidentally.
Keating on the pit road.
Spencer Papelli is the only guy who could knock those guys off right now.
I've got a feeling they're all going to come to the pit lane.
All right, so which car did I say was look favourite for the pole?
Not the 23.
Yes, I did.
Did you? All right. Well done. Checkered flag out for GT Daytona and the heart of Racing 23.
Well,
Alex
I also said Spencer Papelli, didn't I?
Is sitting along pit lane. Alex Riberas about to face the massed ranks of photographers, and our Continental Tire pit lane reporter Shea Adam. Door comes open. Waiting for Luca Persiani. He's the only one who could do something here. Well, he's coming up the hill, so he must fancy himself. 7th position at the moment, and goes through in 7th position.
Yeah, another 209.0, just about the same time as his previous lap. 3 laps in a row around about the same time. So the 3rd pole of the year for Alex Riberas.
Alex Riberas, three-peat, the first one of the season. None of these poles have come at tracks that you have ever been to before. Incredible when you think about the amount of time that you've spent going around. Not a lot of practice time. You guys had a couple issues coming into this session. There was some power steering issues. You think you had it all figured out. Clearly, you like this circuit though, yeah?
I mean, yeah, I could say that I'm in love with America. I think every racetrack just gets better and better. Maybe Lime Rock was not my favorite, let's say, but I loved Mosport. We were in pole there. We were looking for a win, and I came here. Everybody was telling me this track is awesome, and It definitely is. I mean, the car felt so good today. The guys are simply sensational. I mean, they did a tremendous job trying to get the car up to speed. We were struggling big time yesterday. And finally, yeah, we are back on pole 3 times this year. And yeah, looking forward to tomorrow.
There's no better way to continue your championship run, 3rd in the points, than to start in front of all your rivals. How do you keep them behind you going into turn 1 tomorrow?
Well, we are actually the slowest car in the straight, so we're gonna see how we manage that. But yeah, to be on 1st position is obviously our goal, and now the aim is to also be 1st when we cross the finish line. But anyway, first of all, I want to say absolutely outstanding job by everybody in the Heart of Racing crew, and then tomorrow we push again.
Good luck tomorrow.
Thank you very much.
Shea Adam with our first of 4 pole sitters for GT Daytona this time. Well done to Alex Riberas and indeed to the Alex Job Racing team. He'll be heading off to the press conference. 0.2 of a second, not decisive, but in the context of what we were talking about earlier on, Jeremy, 0.2, 0.2, 1st to 2nd, 2nd and 3rd, 0.6 from 3rd to 4th. And you look at the top end there, we're still only looking at, what, a 7.5, so where's an 8.5? An 8.5 is 9th position, so a 2nd for the top 9.
Yeah, on a 4-mile track, that's pretty competitive. And once again, you know, this young Spaniard, just 22 years of age from Barcelona. He is a talent, this boy, and he and Mario Farbacher, the German's he's only 24. This by far the youngest driver pairing in the field, and potentially the most talented as well. Alex Riberas, who was a Porsche Junior driver, who's been dropped off that program, but he's been picked up by Alex Job Racing, and he's really done a sensational job this year. 3 poles for him, another one for Mario Farbacher earlier in the year as well, so 4 poles for this team, and they probably should be better placed in the championship than they are right now. They've got a little bit of ground to make up. Certainly aren't completely out of the reckoning in 3rd position, but they are 25 points behind. That's going to be awfully difficult to make up in the final races of the season.
Yeah, it's an all GT weekend for our next IMSA stop at the very picturesque VIR, Virginia International Raceway, in a couple of weeks' time, all live here on IMSA Radio, of course. And the GT-only event was very popular last year. So I'm looking forward to it. Starts a rather busy, or continues a rather busy run for us with VIR Mexico for the FIA WEC in consecutive weekends. So that's pretty impressive by Alex Job Racing. Pit stop practice going on down at Ford, who are part of the GTLM category that comes up next. Now these cars, similar in straight line performance to the GT Daytonas, they have a huge amount more of aerodynamic grip and are developed more from the standard street cars. They're a little further afield from a car that you could pick up off the showroom floor. Now this is an open tyre formula, but everyone is on Michelin. 100th anniversary issue of the Ali Michelin's motor racing IMSA related news sheet this week, this race weekend. And if you go onto the internet, all 100 covers are being depicted there. Now this has been much closer in the races since Elkhart Lake. Since Watkins Glen. And we had the 100th victory for Corvette Racing in the championship at the last event at Lime Rock Park, a very different circuit in character to what we have here at Road America. A minute lap, just over. Little bull ring of a circuit. So very different set of parameters for the circuit here.
We had Alex Rubras was talking about, excuse me, I was just been trying to look this up here. Alex Rubras was talking about, we're not the fastest car in a straight line, I think he said, didn't he?
Yeah.
Well, just look at the trap speeds from the practice sessions combined. Quickest car in GTD in a straight line was the Lamborghini Huracan, 164.4, identical speed to the number 33 Viper. The BMW is a 163.7. The no, it isn't. That's the GTLM Viper. Yikes! They're quicker. Lamborghinis are quicker than the GTLM BMWs, indeed, and in fact the Chevy Corvettes. But the Audi at a 163 in a straight line.
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
And the best of the Porsche as in GTD 162.1. So yeah, they're giving away a couple of miles an hour on the straight. So not a huge amount. It's certainly interesting to see that there's top 4 cars. 3 of them Lamborghinis and 1 of them Dodges ahead of most of the GTLM cars in terms of straight line speed. Fastest car overall through the trap speed, which where's the speed trap? I think is. I'm not sure where the speed trap is here actually. I'll find that out. But it's the number 5 car, Jar Barbosa, at 176.4 miles an hour. I hark back to the old Camel GT days. And the cars used to be doing 200 miles an hour here on 3 different parts of the racetrack. But of course, they had a lot less drag in those days than they were.
And their lap speeds would have been
way off this
now.
Yeah.
Starting drivers shit, Adam, please.
The green flag just came out, so they're going to run away from me. But the 4 is Oliver Gavin, the 3 Antonio Garcia. For the 100 BMW, Lucas Luhr. 66 Le Mans winning Ford GT is Dirk Mueller. 25 BMW, Bill Oberlin. 62 Risi Ferrari is Giancarlo Fisichella. 67 Ford GT is Ryan Briscoe. And in the 2 Porsches, we find in the 911 Patrick Pile, and in the 912 last year's pole sitter Earl Bamber.
Thanks, Shea. Earl Bamber, a little conspicuous by his absence earlier on. Shea went to see if she could have a quick word with the Le Mans winner from last year and couldn't find him, which was a bit of a worry because it was so close to qualifying. Where was he, Shea?
Well, he was in his car like he was supposed to be, except his car was under the cover. And they sort of rolled back the cover, and there all of a sudden was the gold helmet of Earl Bamber. So I wonder just how long he had been in there, because I think that car cover had been on for at least 30 minutes.
I think he got in there last night and they just left him there.
Could be.
Yeah.
That explains why he wasn't at dinner, actually.
That's a good point.
Yeah, there we go. That's the sound of Earl going past me, going out on track. So keep an eye open for the 912.
And by the way, we've already had 1 track record this afternoon. The GTD pole time for Alex Rubras comfortably eclipsed the GTD lap record. Of course, different specifications last year, but that was set by Patrick Lindsay at a 209.3. That was last year's pole. The best, the lap record, however, had been set by James Davison, the Aston Martin, TRG Aston Martin V8 Vantage in 2014, a 209.079, so a second and a half inside that lap record in GTD.
Standing Yellow has tweeted at IMSA Radio, are there any track limit concerns at turn 1 at Road America, or is it use it at your own risk? The track limits that get called are if you get taken advantage in time or distance. And clearly it's a longer way to go the further you go out of turn 1. There is a bit of paved area there, quite a bit on the exit. But it would appear that no one's gaining any time advantage from it. So it's been watched carefully, I'm sure. Sector times will be being watched as well. Mason Henry, who's up in Canada, making a weekend of motorsport by tuning into us here on IMSA Radio with IMSA TV, perfectly synced from trackside live here at Road America. Did I hear correctly last weekend BMW potentially has a new car for 17, 18 for that car, the new GTLM car, GTE car is what is coming through. Some of that may be contingent on how and what happens in GT convergence. I have been told categorically it doesn't have to, that GT conversion doesn't have to happen before the car would happen. But clearly if GT conversion did happen, it would mean potentially looking at a different body shell. Something new, not something that they have at the moment, and not the collaboration with Toyota that will bring us the new Toyota Supra. So the M6, of course, is unique to the GTLM category here in the IMSA category. It's not a FIA or ACO approved GTE car.
It's approved by me, though. I love it.
You like it, don't you?
I love the looking car.
Yeah. Can we get that stamped on the side? Approved by Jeremy Shaw. I think that would look very good.
Yeah, I just love the variety.
Me too.
This is one of the joys, isn't it, of GTLM and GTD come to that. So 5 manufacturers, 5 competitive cars, great racing.
Early issues for Ferrari number 62, turn 7.
Track limits?
Well, circuit limits almost, gone much further there. He would have had to show his pass to get back in. Dropping 2 wheels off onto the dirt spectacularly. It is Giancarlo Fisichella in the 62 car. Right, let's wait for some times to come in. Ollie Gavin, 2:05.492. Ollie has been the victim of some crime back at home. His house was broken into, and quite a lot of personal memorabilia has been stolen. So if you're in the UK or on the internet and you see any Ollie Gavin stuff coming up, please make sure you are completely aware of the provenance of it, and if you have any doubts at all, report it to the authorities.
Fastest time in practice, by the way, we set this morning up. Virtually all of the teams ran simulated qualifying runs. Best of put together by Antonio Garcia in Corvette car number 3 at 2:02.620.
Yeah, it was very close though, wasn't it? Through turn 1 for the number 67 Porsche Ford. I do that all the time with 66 and 67. For some reason I have them in my mind as Porsche numbers.
Going back to the BF Goodrich Porsches, are you?
Isn't it funny how things stick in your head though, Jeremy? That you know, if you say one thing, it's automatically followed by another. It's like when a team changes their manufacturer, and you've been so used to seeing, you know, Dave Miggins Audi, and then they go and buy a Lamborghini, and it's always Dave Miggins Audi, isn't it? 4 car coming around. Ollie Gavin's been bumped off the provisional pole by first Patrick Pilet in the 911 Porsche, and that Porsche finding a little more speed. 62 Giancarlo Fisichella to the pole position now, or to the provisional, and 2:03.877. 2:03.5 now though by Ollie Gavin. Oh, this is starting to get interesting now. 2 fastest segments for Giancarlo Fisichella in the Ferrari. 66 Ford coming around
To the top, with a 2:03.3, but that eclipsed now by Giancarlo Fisichella. Number 62, Risi Competizione Ferrari, turns to 2:03.129.
Very quick in the first 2 sectors, that Ferrari. In fact, quickest of anyone out there.
It's quicker than he went this morning. 2:03.5 was it's Tony Villander who drove the car this morning, actually, in the final practice session. That was the quickest time by that car this weekend. Because he's found another 4/10 of a second.
Dirk Muller now for Ford with the fastest first sector. So Ford, Ferrari, Corvette, Porsche, top 4 with 4 different manufacturers. Patrick Pilet upholding Weissach's honour as into the pit lane comes the number 100 BMW.
Again, has not yet set a...
No, they haven't set a time.
No.
Lucas Lehr not happy with that car. So still Ferrari, 2:03.129.
Or is he going all the way through? I think he might be going all the way through, actually.
Hasn't stopped.
No.
Okay, gone straight through, says Shea. It's an odd one.
25 car doing the same?
25's done exactly the same thing. That's both the BMWs then. And I wonder if they're resetting something as they come through the pit lane. What they have managed to engineer there, Jeremy, is a completely open track in front of them as they went out the pit lane. So they've got 6.5 minutes, so plenty of time to do some quick laps.
Which Corvette was that? Was that Ollie Gavin just went to?
It was, yeah.
No improvement on that. 203.612, so fractionally slower than Ollie's previous lap.
Giancarlo Fisichella, the car bobbing and waving between turns 13 and 14. He is really hanging that car out. Comes to the line in front of us now. He's done the fastest middle sector of all, 2:02.975, and pulls out a 3.5 lead over the Ford of Dirk Muller, and another 4.5 tenths over the first of the Corvettes, that of Antonio Garcia. That car's already had an engine change this weekend. That's the number 3.
Yeah, Garcia did improve on that last lap, up into that third place, 203.3. So the 202.9 by Patrick Pilet gone to the top there. 202.912. Wow, for the Porsche, great effort by the Frenchman there to really wring that car's neck. That car all of a sudden found a lot of pace this morning. I think as a result of the feedback we gave them last night at dinner. Thank you very much indeed, by the way, gentlemen. And Patrick Pilet, wow, that is a stunning lap for Pilet. It was his best lap in the morning practice session was a 2:02.9, so he is absolutely matched that. No, 2:03.0, so he's got found a 10th of a second since this morning. Great effort by Patrick Pilet, fastest at the moment by 0.063 of a second.
And that
finally unlocked the potential, I think, of this car.
Yeah. Running on a different tyre than that they had here last year. Last year, if you remember, they were still using those one-shot Michelin tyres, good for a single stint, which was a little bit of a tryout. The Ferraris seemed to do the best on those, if I remember rightly. They really like them.
Oh no, well, the
Porsches and Ferraris.
Porsches and Ferraris, yeah. By the way, the second of the Porsches, Earl Bamber, up into 4th place now at 203.20.
Oh, spin coming out the final corner for the Chevrolet Corvette number 3 with Antonio Garcia at the wheel. He's facing the wrong direction now.
He'd just gone personal best in sectors 1 and 2, so certainly on a really good lap there was Antonio Garcia, but we'll never know what it might have been. He was about half a tenth slower than Dirk Muller, who's now at the top with car number 66 for Ford Chip Ganassi Racing. There's a tail end of that spin for Antonio Garcia. What I was going to say was Antonio Garcia's lap was about a half a tenth down on Dirk Muller in the first sector, and a couple of tenths down in the second sector.
And Dirk Muller had to check up as he came around the final corner, so he could have been quicker still. Wow. 2:02.8. So Ford 66, Pilet, Porsche 911, that is the number. Giancarlo Fisichella 62 in 3rd. And those guys all of a tenth of a second away from each other, all 3 of them in total.
We've seen the BMWs turn only represented 2 times, haven't we? It's curious. But the 2 Corvettes then 6th and 7th at the moment. In the first and 3rd this morning, Antonio Garcia with a 2:02.6. He hasn't got within 8 tenths of a second of that. Oliver Gavin has turned a 2:03.5 this afternoon. Against his 2:02.8 this morning. So some speed gone away from the Corvettes. That's unusual. They generally find time in qualifying compared to their practice pace.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Earlier on, Alex Riberas for the 23 Porsche took pole in the GT Daytona category. Dirk Muller stringing a decent lap together here with the fastest centre section as the number 4 Chevy Corvette of Antonio Garcia. Check that if Ollie Gavin comes through and improves his time but not his position. 2:03.521. Still in 7th now.
So that's a great middle sector there for Dirk Muller. That's significantly quicker than anybody else, I think. 49.7 seconds. That's the run from just before turn 5 till just after the kink. Purple again in sector 3 for Dirk Muller. Improves to 2:02.451. And that is actually not quite down to the track record, which was set last year by Earl Bamber, 202.384. So these new specification GT3 cars, quite as quick as last year, despite they've got all this extra underbody diffusers, but slightly smaller rear wings and various other minor changes as well.
Yeah. And just...
Is it Keller on pit lane, John?
Yeah, Fizzy's called it a day, hasn't he?
BMWs do. Particularly first.
Ryan Briscoe goes to third. Fizzy's been booked down to fourth. Ford, Porsche, Ford, Ferrari, Porsche, but Earl Bamber is hustling. Huge run wide at turn 1 in the 67 car by Ryan Briscoe. Clearly annoying some of you. Jack Coffey saying wasn't last year's pole a 202.3, just shows how good those single stint tyres were. Yep, correct. But it's the 2015 medium compound WEC tyres for Porsche this year, and everyone else on the 2016 medium compound Michelin tyres, and all of them obviously on the construction and compound that comes from their type of cars. So if it's a mid-engined rear-wheel drive car, that's the tyre that Ford and Ferrari will have. That was developed by Ferrari in the off-season. Unmistakable flat sound of that
BMW's in onto pit lane. Their sessions are over. 8th and 9th on the speed charts. This morning they were 6th and 8th, turning laps of the best of was a 203.1. So this afternoon, not getting within a whole second of that. That's curious.
Ford long pit lane is the 66 as the checkered flag comes out.
Anomalies in this session, John.
Yeah, this has not been what we were expecting at all.
No surprise. Yeah, no surprise to see the Ford on pole.
No, but half a second.
But half a second, yeah, quite. And particularly the other Ford, Ryan Briscoe, back in third place.
And you might have guessed Ford, but and you might have even said, oh, by half a second, but not to the Porsche. Yeah. Ryan Briscoe with a 202.9 last time around. Will he be able to beat that time? He won't. He's in the pit lane. So is Patrick Pilo. So is Giancarlo Fisichella. Earl Bamber still out there in the 912 Porsche.
But not on a quick lap.
And everybody else in the pit lane. Ollie Gavin's taking the checkered flag as well. So it will be Dirk Muller for Ford and the Ford GT.
His first pole in the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship.
20th different pole sitter of GTLM, ready to be interviewed by Shea Adam. Still sitting in the car at the moment.
By American, it leaves the current drives. That leaves only Tony Vilander, Tommy Milner, Lucas Lior, and Fred Makovecki, the only guys who don't have a pole currently driving in GTLM. It's pretty amazing.
Such an open category. Sort of one you need to know about that. Certain amount of backslapping going on down there in the Ford Chip Ganassi pit area. Shea Adam and Dirk out of the car.
Dirk has now gotten out of the car, and the first person to greet him was co-driver Joey Hand. Joey came over. He, of course, was on pole here last year. It was Joey who came first. This time, it's Dirk Mueller. First pole of the series. Ford Le Mans winner, Dirk Mueller. Congrats on that pole. How hard did you have to push on that lap?
Oh, well, I mean, first of all, you know, on the way here, I already knew we are going to be in good shape. I knew the team. Ford Chip Ganassi Racing and you know, the combination with Michelin tires will give us the combination to really have fun. And since the first lap I went out here, I've really felt strong and good. But you never know. I mean, this morning, all of a sudden, the competition was really strong and it was really, really close. And then we had to do a tire choice. And it looked like we are absolutely on the good way here because it's good for today, it's good for tomorrow, and thanks for Joey, you know, my teammate. I think we're working into one direction this weekend, and thanks to the whole team. Finally, it's the second pole. I mean, one one is not counting for IMSA, but I was on pole in Le Mans. So that's my first IMSA pole this year, and really looking forward. Thanks.
Hopefully it means your first IMSA win this year too. Congrats, Dirk.
We are working on that one.
Been around this series for a very long time now, Dirk Muller. And always a fun bloke to be around.
Yep, won the IMSA GT Championship back in 2000. Oh, that's a long time ago, isn't it, with Dick Barber in a Porsche. Back then he had a record 8 straight poles.
Yep.
So, you know, he's clearly lost none of his pace, has he, over the last 16 years?
And just has a fine amount of enthusiasm for this. You know, that's a long time ago. He was a much younger man then, as we all were, and I remember him coming wide-eyed to some of these circuits in America, as most of the Europeans did then, Jeremy. Quite a lot of the tracks weren't as well known as they are now. There wasn't as much coverage on satellite television and certainly not on the internet of the American racing.
No.
And people coming to a track like this, or to Motorsport as it was then, Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, Road Atlanta for the first Petite Le Mans, you know, literally wide-eyed in amazement, the European drivers, and you'll have seen that as well in the open wheel ranks as well.
Very much so, yeah, and you know, it's still the same now. We heard Alex Rubras talking, didn't we, after he won the pole position in GTD, how enthusiastic he was about this 4-mile racetrack, and yeah, as he said, he'd been told it was going to be good, but wow, you know, everybody loves coming to Road America. It's a real challenge for the drivers, and a lot of work has to go on amongst the engineers too, because you know, do you concentrate on being quick around the corners, big long straights here? Do you just concentrate on straight line speed? There's all sorts of different ways of approaching the challenge of going fast on this Road American circuit.
We often talk about this type of circuit, Road America, Road Atlanta, as obviously natural terrain road circuits is what they're termed as over here, as European style. And I was saying down at a Porsche dealer event at Milwaukee, North Milwaukee on Thursday night, they're called European style circuits. We actually don't have any tracks like this in Europe anymore. The trace of the track might be similar, but in terms of the challenges that they pose for the drivers, it's not the same anymore. You look at Spa, which is still a very lovely circuit, but is surrounded by huge areas of runoff. The spectators can't get very close, apart from 1 or 2 places, to see the cars working. Nürburgring Nordschleife, well, okay, that's an outlier. That's something a little bit different, and that is still as awesomely scary as it ever was. But the rest of the circuits in Europe have been somewhat toned down. Great crowd here this weekend. Thank you for coming out to see us. And if you haven't already, try out that new viewing area that runs from the turn 14 area, driver's right, from the bottom paddock there, all the way back up past Canada Corner. Take your golf carts and your pedal cycles around there. 1 or 2 of you, I know, have already set up there. And there's still, of course, the very popular bleachers on driver's left at Canada Corner. Big screen down there as well, and a PA system that works very well, and a goodly number of you perched in the shady areas around that as well. Shea Adam has got the prototype challenge qualifiers for us in this Continental Tire Pit Lane report.
26 this weekend will be Don Yount qualifying the car, co-driving with Johnny Mollum. Johnny normally drives in the 20 with Matt McMurray, and Matt will be qualifying the 20 for this weekend. Then we move up to the 85. It is Misha Goikberg taking out the JDC Miller Motorsport car to try and get pole. 38 will be James French, hometown boy, trying to go for another pole here around this circuit. 52, Robert Alon. That is the potential spoiler. Robert has been so fast this year in qualifying, and he's already got a few poles to his name. We got to keep an eye on the 52. In the 7, it's going to be Jose Gutierrez. The 8, Alex Popoff. And the 88, Mark Kvame. But the one that everybody really wants to know, you got to save it for last. The 54, is it going to be Colin Brown? Nope, it's John Bennett.
So almost ready to go here. And yeah, Colin, Shay making the point there that the number 54 team choosing for their sort of more normal strategy, John Bennett, to drive the qualifying session and therefore start the race, because each driver that qualifies must start the race. Last couple of rounds, though, they've irked some of the other competitors, including some of us, by having Colin Brown qualify the car, get the pole position, get all the kudos for the pole, but then start at the back of the field in PC by virtue of the fact they change the drivers, and they'll then have John Bennett start the car on a fresh set of tyres, and came into for some pretty vocal criticism at Lime Rock Park. But they were certainly abiding by the rules. You're allowed to do that, but the point was it was kind of against the spirit of the rules. That was my point at Lime Rock Park, because the PC category, it's basically it's a pro-am class, and the focus without the am drivers, the class wouldn't be there, and so the kind of the focus is on them, particularly in qualifying. We've had some fantastic battles among people like Robert Allon, James French, Alex Papao, and Matt McMurray, and all these other guys in qualifying, and then Colin Brown, a professional driver, multi-time pole sitter in ALMS and in the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship. He kind of goes and steals their thunder and then starts at the back with a fresh set of tyres. So good to see that Core Autosport is now following more the convention and allowing the John Bennett, who's no mean driver in his own right, let's face it, to get out there and do the qualifying duties himself. And it would be kind of, I would actually quite like to see John Bennett qualify the car on the pole and do the job himself. That would be good. But it's good to see now. Everyone's on the same footing here. This is the way the strategies normally play out in PC and in GTD. The lesser experienced driver generally qualifies the car. Then the more experienced driver, or the pro if you like, will finish off the race. He'll be the quicker guy generally to finish off the race and take the second stint tomorrow afternoon.
Green flag is in the air. 15 minutes on the clock, has already reduced to 14 minutes and 35 seconds as the majority of the field roll out together for the penultimate session of qualifying for the IMSA Sports Car Challenge here at Road America. We're trackside live for IMSA Radio. Jeremy Shaw and John Hindhoff in the broadcast booth. Shea Adam as our Continental Tyre pit lane reporter. It'll take a couple of minutes for the guys to come round and start their first flying lap. The teams adding cars this weekend to a PC category that has but one more year after this year. Been a great servant to IMSA in the ALMS and the current form. Scott Atherton saying to us in an interview, which you might have heard before the qualifying, that really was a rescue package that brought the prototype challenge cars into the old American Le Mans series, along with the Porsche Cup cars, the GTC as they were then. My goodness, how GTC stroke GT3 cars have come on in that amount of time, by the way. But the PC cars have remained fairly constant. Had a couple of updates, quite a major one relatively recently with a new electronics package, adding traction control, some changes to the gearbox programming and the shift patterns. But ultimately this is quite an old racing car now, going back to, well, these chassis all going back to the design, going back to 09 when Orica took them over. Orica acquired them from Courage, wasn't it, that ceased trading?
We go back a lot further than that, don't we, in terms of the top of the car, the basic chassis of the car. Back to Courage, Reynard, was it?
Reynard Courage, yeah. C60, C65. The cars were, let's not forget, they were absolutely state-of-the-art in those days.
P1 cars.
They were P1 cars, yes, exactly so. And they still look good. I've got to be honest, I know that the fashion and particularly the safety concerns are moving away from open-top prototypes.
It's motor racing.
Well, yes, and there's a huge debate going on about that in forms of open-wheel racing. But I do like these cars. They've, I think, updated nicely down through the years. They still look very purposeful.
Yeah.
sound good with the V8 engines in them. But after 18, after 17 rather, there will be no more, and they will not be replaced in the WeatherTech Championship. Will fold down into a 3-class structure with prototypes being the new DPIs and the LMP2s at the front of the field, then GTLM and GT Daytona as they stand at the moment. A new prototype challenge name to the what is now the prototype light category, starting in 17, and that will have 2 classes: the current L1 Elan chassis cars. That'll be what's called PC2, and PC1 will be FIA LMP3 cars. 6 different chassis eligible for that, with a spec V8 engine. Now that in Europe is a Nissan engine. But yet to hear what the engine supplier will be for here in the States.
But the category was announced yesterday as prototype challenge presented by Mazda, so maybe that's a...
Do you think there might be a hint there?
It could be, just a little bit. It didn't say powered by Mazda. Which
No, that's very true. Very true.
But the what will be PC2 cars, the current L1 cars, they do use Mazda engines at the moment.
It's a 2-litre engine, isn't it? The
2.3, I think.
2.3, yes, you're right, absolutely. The L2 cars were 2 litres. So all part of the restructuring of IMSA and its portfolio of events, as some of the cars are getting a little bit long in the tooth now. Shea, Adam, have we finally got everybody out? The 54, 52 car being a bit recalcitrant?
The 54, you're right with that. The
54,
first time,
yeah.
it's been John Bennett sitting in the car in the pit lane with an umbrella overhead. They called for him to hold for about 5 minutes, just waiting for traffic to peel off a bit more. John now will be able to go out, and indeed he does. That's the sound of his Chevy engine powering him out of his pit box. They're planning on the track being a bit more spacious as cars start coming into the pits, having set their fast lap.
It's 4 miles, there's only 9 cars.
Yeah, no, exactly.
But these cars have magnets in them, Jeremy,
Yes.
as we've seen all day.
Very
They always
good
find
point.
each other.
Very good point, Shea Adam.
PC magnet, yes. I think he used to work on Joe Bradley's ship, PC magnet, I'm not sure. Just watching one of the PC cars going around there with what appeared to be a random number generator on the side of it, instead of its normal display on the side showing where it is in class, which would be a green number panel. It was the JDC car, wasn't it? The 85 car.
It was about a minute ago, I can't remember. The 2 youngsters, though, setting the pace after the first flying lap. Jose Gutierrez in car number 7, the 20-year-old from Monterrey, Mexico. Fastest initially, ahead of Matt McMurray in car number 20, the 18-year-old from Scottsdale, Arizona. And as they come across for the next time, Gutierrez improves again, now down to 2 minutes, 0.351. Just ahead of Alex Popow in car number 8. So 2 Starworks cars, first and second in the early stages. Now split by Misha Goikberg for JGC Miller Motorsports. That's car number 85. It's the car from Minnesota, so relatively local here. JDC Miller Motorsports, John Church and the crew there. Jimmy Crouch amongst others, and John Miller.
Matthew Murray, rather, with the fastest first sector. Misha Goikberg.
And the fastest lap time.
Yeah, it's with the second best, the best second sector. And I think it was Robert Alon with the third. Misha Goikberg, of course, we were talking about prototype lights there. Qualifying, or certainly beginning his career in the IMSA program in the IMSA light category. Spent a couple of 3 years in that, I think.
Yep.
And really good place to learn. I know that there will be those who will mourn the passing of prototype challenge from the big show, but LMP3, the Ligier that was sitting here the other day, very sleek indeed yesterday. as James French goes to the top.
From Sheboygan.
Couldn't get much closer than that, really.
You've got a lot of miles around here, as James, in a huge variety of cars, including the Indy Lights car he drove here a few weeks ago, the IndyCar weekend. He made a good account of himself as well, finishing in the top 10.
Wow,
which is pretty impressive to hop into the car first time out, just for a one-off appearance this year in the IMSA Lights presented by Cooper Tires.
He's finishing the thought off on the new prototype challenge for 2017 with the LMP3 cars. They are the second prototype class in the European Le Mans series, and have been providing fantastic entertainment. Alex Brundle and United Autosports leading that championship, and already word from Richard Dean and Alex. I spent the weekend in a commentary box with Alex. There wasn't any racing on, we just decided to spend the weekend in the commentary box together. And that was last weekend at Spa. And he was, I think, aware of the plans for over here. And definite interest being shown by European teams, including United Autosports, to set up an operation over here to run in that new PC category with the LMP3 cars that they know so well, and they're having an advantage of having run those cars for a couple of years. By the time that gets underway,
New fastest time. It's Jose Gutierrez back to the top. The first guy under 2 minutes, 1 minute 59.793 for the young Mexican, on a better lap as well now. But James is going to have to be, because James French has gone back to the top. He got 38 for Performance Tech Motorsports, 159.465.
right, last 5 minutes. This is where we get down to business. We've seen this time after time in qualifying sessions for the prototype challenge cars. The Continental tyres seem to lose nothing at all through the session, and as the fuel burns off from these cars and the big V8s have less to push around the circuit, the times will come down. 3 drivers now underneath the 2 minute marker.
Alex Popo improved to a 159.634, but Jose Gutierrez, he also improved, but only to a 59.478 points close at the top here. James French still has the edge by 0.013 of a second. Alex Popo in car number 8, just a tenth of a second back. Robert Alon in car number 52 for PR1 Matheson Motorsports. He's only 3/10 off the pole as well at the moment, with 4 minutes remaining.
Goldberg looked like he was on a decent one there, but lost some time in the middle sector. 38, 7, 20, 8, 52 and 85. That's your top half dozen, separated by 0.6 of a second. First 5 by 0.3 of a second.
Yeah, that is tight. Matt McMurray there, sneaky in the middle of that little group at a 59.519 in car number 20. And it was here at Road America back in 2014 that Matt McMurray got his first win in that IMSA Prototype Lights Championship. Now he's 3rd fastest though at the moment in car number 20 for Bar 1 Motorsports.
And the 159s starting to pepper the top of the timing monitor in front of us. 3.5 minutes to go. John Bennett improving his time to a 2:02. He'll get probably 2 more laps. So a 59.331 for James French is the time that needs to be aimed at.
Yeah, he's just improved on that lap. That wasn't improvement with James French, 59.331. That is the new benchmark now. He's got a 1/10.5 over Jose Gutierrez, who's just coming off the final corner and rising up the hill toward the start-finish line.
In the number 7 Starworks Motorsport car. That is the one with the random number generator on the side, actually. That's the yellow, not the JDC car across the line.
No improvement. 59.6 that time for Gutierrez. There's Matt Murray, he's on a good lap.
Yeah, he's in the 3rd sector now, Jeremy, coming around.
There's Robert Alon across the line.
Gutierrez, by the way, was within 0.2 of his best time. That's put him in 2nd, but that would have only put him down in 5th.
Look at the 2 Bar 1 cars.
59.519 for Matt Murray. becomes a 2 minutes, .083. Doesn't improve. Hang on. Gutierrez on a quick one.
Don Yount did improve though in the sister car, car number 26 is 201.091. That's not a bad effort by Don Yount.
Yeah, 59.9 for Misha. So top 6 now, all under 2 minutes. James French, he knows he's got something to do here. Gutierrez is pushing him hard. French takes the middle sector. Gutierrez is taking sector 1 in terms of the fastest times. 38 for James French then.
Yeah, you know he wants this, doesn't it, on home turf, just a few miles from home.
He looked smooth and quick through the final corner. This looks to be a good lap from French. 59.3 he has. 59.1 it goes down to, and he stretches his lead to 0.3 of a second over Gutierrez in the 7 Star Works car, but he's on a personal best as well. This is going to be very close indeed. 34.7, 48.4 against a 34.8, 48.3 in the first 2 sectors for those 2 drivers. So we are trading fractions here. 35.9 in the 3rd sector for French, and it is a 35.9 for Gutierrez. He improves to a 2.08, 59.208, 0.075 of a second between them, and he's got across for another lap. The pair of them will have another 4 miles, Jeremy, with 20 seconds on the clock. That will be their last circuit.
Yeah, indeed. There's Robert Alon across the line. No, there was an improvement for... No, there wasn't an improvement for Robert Alon. There was an improvement there for Misha Goikberg. Goikberg now up into 5th place in car number 85 for JDC Miller Motorsports. Robert Alon in car number 52, all the way down in 6th. That's not what we expect of Robert Alon. It's been an absolute revelation this season. By far the least experienced driver really in this field. And he's qualified, well, 5th was his worst previously. That was at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park. Generally, he's on the front row of the grid for the last 5 races.
Checkered flag is out. The dirt in the air at the exit of turn number 7. Decent laps, but not sparkling for French and Gutierrez. Popow's backed out of it. He's got Misha Goikberg in his tailpipes at the moment, so he can't back right out of it through the carousel.
Yes, Gutierrez. It was his teammate, isn't it? Gutierrez right behind him.
Ah, right, okay. Was it the 8 car that went off at 6? Oh, yes, it was. He went a long way off as well. Alex Popow doing very well to hold on to that slide on the very dry grass. Yeah, and you're right, it was. I'm confusing those 2 yellow cars this weekend. My apologies. Right. Just catch a flash of yellow.
Just come across the line there and did not improve on that lap. I think it was there was another. He was following another car. I think didn't quite see who that was.
Gutierrez then. Nah, he's not in it. So he's not going to get that.
No, he was definitely held up, I think, by his teammate there, Alex Popow. So we're very happy about that.
Gutierrez into the pit lane. Matt McMurray still out there, isn't going to improve. Goikberg might improve here. I don't think he's going to trouble the guys right at the front. But he'll come through. There's Robert Alon, goes up to 4th at the very final, and Goikberg goes up to 3rd. Oh, magnificent stuff from Misha Goikberg in the 85. Right at the end there, 59.462. Takes him ahead of Matt McMurray. Robert Alon, for a moment, had got up a couple of 3 places, a 59.6 for Alon. Don Yount, the last one to cross the line, has decided to pit. I thought Misha was putting a decent one together. Didn't have a great first sector, but personal bests in sectors 2 and 3 brought him a 1:59.462 and the inside of the 2nd row.
And his best qualifying effort for Misha Goikberg. Really good job there by another former champion of the IMSA Prototype Lights Championship powered by Mazda. So a really good effort by Misha Goikberg now, finally getting a bit of that confidence back that he showed a year or so ago. But James French, this is his 4th pole in the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship, but the 1st of this year for he and the Performance Tech Motorsports team. And what a place to do it here. Lives in Sheboygan, Wisconsin, just a few miles away from here. He's got a lot of supporters here, and he's given a good, healthy wave there to everybody on his way back into the pit lane, when he will be very warmly greeted by that Performance Tech Motorsports team. It's a bit of a a bit difficult year in some ways for the team. They haven't quite had the results that they've been looking for, but they've certainly been consistent podium contenders.
So checkered flag out. And congratulations to James French, who rumbles in with the red, white and black number 38 to the pit lane. The green number 1 proudly lit on the side, just showing everyone that he has indeed captured pole position. And he comes to a standstill right next to the toes of our Continental Tire pit lane reporter, Shea Adam.
Doesn't get much sweeter for a hometown boy to get pole at the track, which he grew up coming to, where he first discovered a love of racing. And for James French, this is going to be pretty emotional. You can know for sure. He was saying yesterday just how many friends and family were coming out to the track to cheer him on. It's home cooking, though. It's getting to sleep in your own bed, getting to eat food that mom's made for you. It makes life a lot better. We'll let you get your helmet off. There you go. James, it's been a long time since your last pole, but man, I've been asking you every round if you were going to get one. You're saving it for the home race, huh? That puts a big smile on your face.
Yeah, exactly. There's not a place I'd rather do it other than here. Kind of sucks that it was the first one of the season, but so happy to get it. Yeah, it's exactly where we want to start for tomorrow, so I can't thank my team enough, my friends, family, yeah, everybody for coming out. It's awesome.
What sort of speed did the Performance Tech guys find for you in the car between that last practice session and qualifying?
Yeah, we made a few pretty significant changes after practice 2, and yeah, carried pretty similar setup into practice 3, but we hit it pretty well, so yeah, it worked awesome.
You gonna replicate whatever you ate for dinner last night tonight and hope it works out the same tomorrow?
Not changing a thing.
Good luck, James.
Hey, thank you so much.
Very good. Big smile on the face of James French.
Yeah, good guy, 24-year-old from Sheboygan. Really fine effort that was. The team works really, really hard. Brent O'Neill and the rest of the boys there. It's lots of enthusiasm. The team's based in South Florida, but James has been with this team now for a couple of years, and this is his 4th pole for them. And as he said, nowhere better to do it than right here on home turf at Road America.
Is that a little, Shea, you were down there, was that a little speck of dust in his eye there when he was talking?
Well, you know, driving the open cockpit cars, it does get pretty dusty. So, yeah. He had dust in both eyes.
Yeah, thought so. That's good. I like to see that. I like to see people who have the emotional attachment to what they're doing. This is clearly not just a job for these guys. It really means something to them. And the realisation of a first pole position of 2016 for James French, that he can celebrate at home with his family this evening. Photographs being taken down in the pit lane. So we move on as the formalities are being completed down there on the pit lane to the front of the field and to the prototype category. And let's think forward to the next 15 minutes or so, Jeremy.
Yeah, it should be pretty interesting, I think.
I'm not calling this one, I tell
well,
you.
the Mazdas have got to be the favourites, I think. They've clearly got the pace again this weekend. But it could be either of them challenging for the pole position. But certainly the Taylor brothers have been super fast as well. And they were knocking on the door this morning. Jordan Taylor this morning was only about 3-4 tenths away from the best time set by Jonathan Bomarito. So he's going to be a contender, I think. Christian Fittipaldi generally qualifies number 5 car, and he generally steps it up a little bit in qualifying as well. So we'll see what he can pull out of that car. But then, of course, Ozzie Negri. He was fastest, I think, in yesterday evening.
Depends if he qualifies, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, he probably won't. It'll probably be John Pugh who qualifies number 60 car. So I would suggest it's going to be a battle between the two Mazdas.
The interesting thing to me is what Action Express will pull out of the bag, because they were a little off the pace in the final practice session, but you never count those guys off. Shea, who will be qualifying the cars?
I'm about halfway down the pit lane, but I can tell you John Pugh will be in the number 60. It will be Jonathan Bomarito in the 55, Tom Long in the 70, and a very busy boy tonight. Sean Rahal is qualifying the Delta Wing, and as soon as he's done, he's hopping out into his rental car because he's going to qualify for another race, well, at least attempt to. In the 90 is Mark Goosens, the 10 is Ricky Taylor, and Action Express are just a little bit further up, so I'm going to have to hustle and then let you know, John.
Yeah, Sean Rahal heading down to Plymouth for the sprint car meeting tonight, driving in the slightly less powerful category, but still frighteningly quick and sideways an awful lot. But before that, the prototype category, close on 200 miles an hour where conditions allow, probably well up over 180 towards 190 here, all on Continental tyres. And fuel is petrol or diesel, but we are all petrol powered now. A split between what was formerly the Daytona prototypes and LMP2 cars, current LMP2 cars, with the addition of the completely prototype Delta Wing, which I noticed was running with the small nose wings earlier on today. Had run with the larger ones earlier in the weekend. So 15 minutes goes back on the clock. And the two answers to the questions of who's qualifying in the Action Express cars, that would be Eric Curran and Christian Fittipaldi. Jeremy's looking for tickets for the sprint car tonight.
Yeah, Plymouth Speedway, not too far away. Racing begins at 7 o'clock, I believe. So yeah, Sean's going to have to hustle to get over there for qualifying.
He has been excused the drivers' meeting this evening by Bo Barfield. Sean put himself in front of our race director and told him exactly the story, and Bo, being an ex-racer himself, said, "Oh, you've got to go and do that."
Yeah.
So immediate hall pass given by our race director, and you'll hear all about it tomorrow, I'm sure. Gets in being a rookie, he's got to start his heat at the back of the grid, which is going to make qualifying for the A main difficult. But if he gets into the A main, he's already into the money. $175 to be last qualifier for that, and every position you get up, you take more money. Which is why, of course, for those of you further afield from the US, most of you in the US will know this, but that's why we never come out with sprint cars. We pretty much race every night of the week, 365 days of the year. Most meeting somewhere, and it can be, if you are anywhere near good at it, a lucrative profession. What happened to prize money in professional road racing? When did it disappear and why?
It's still there, you just have to find it. Well, Mazda Road to Indy, for example.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, that's true. There'll be a stop and go penalty for
Mazda Road to 24 as well.
Well, yes, yeah. There's going to be a stop and go penalty for Sean Rahal in the Delta Wing. Infringement at the start of the session. He was speeding out of pit lane. Let me get this done, get me 3 laps in and get away. Number 10 out on the circuit is the Wayne Taylor racing car, and we put Ricky Taylor in that. Just noticed a new set of LED lights in the front of that car, little 3 LEDs, 3 or 4 LEDs at the front of the headlights there, very effective in this bright daylight. As he now goes across the start-finish line and heads down towards turn number 1. Already 12.5 minutes is all that remain. Decent amount of rubber being laid down on the exit of turn 1 now, to the point where there's probably as much grip on the runoff as there is on the surface, if not more. this going to be the breakthrough weekend for Mazda? Don't forget, if you're at the circuit here at Road America, or you're coming to see us tomorrow, the adventure starts from the driver's seat and at Mazda Driving Matters. The Mazda ride and drive experience this weekend is here at Road America. You can drive the new Mazda range and experience how Mazda celebrates driving with every detail of their new generation vehicles. The Mazda ride and drive experience is over at the karting motorplex, excuse me. Or if you're in the infield area, speak with the Mazda team at the display there in the midway, and they'll give you all the details on how you can get behind the wheel of an all-new Mazda vehicle this weekend at Road America. Right, here's the first of the quick times coming. It will be the number 5, Christian Fittipaldi. There he goes past us now, and a 1:57.841 for Fittipaldi. His teammate Eric Curran at 58.3. Through comes Ricky Taylor, 58.4. Third position for the number 10 Wayne Taylor racing car. 90, Mark Goosens qualifying the 90 car, 1:59.2. 2 minutes, 0.4 for John Pugh. Now, typically speaking, John Pugh won't be as quick at the start. He doesn't switch the tyres on as quickly as some of the other drivers, but John Pugh will pretty much always improve lap on lap in that chrome, bronze and stars and stripes number 60 car.
Great looking car, isn't it?
It gets better looking every time I see it. They just tinker with the livery a little bit.
Yeah, currently the aero paints system on that car is on several others as well. And,
wow. Really bumped me down in the turn 5 braking area. I don't remember noticing it that bad over the last few years. Hard winters here though take its toll. Impresses me every time I see John Pugh in the car, I'll be honest with you. John would by no means classify himself as a pro driver, and this is a pro driver category. There's no section. Sorry, Jeremy, go ahead.
56.5 there for Jonathan Bomarito, his first flying lap. Last year's pole time, a 1:56.4 from Joey Hansen, just a 1/10 of a second outside that. The track record set to Ryan DL back in 2014 in the HPD ARX 03B at 1:55.166. See if that's within range for Jonathan Bomarito.
I'll be impressed if it is. Different cars, different tyres, completely different set of regulations then. ARX
2014,
14, no, that's right, no, sorry, I'm thinking too far back.
55.6 there for Ricky Taylor.
Ooh, that's nice.
55.9 Fittipaldi. Eric Curran, a 56.1 in Canada 31. That's all their second flying laps. Jonathan Bomarito still on his second flying lap. Not quite as quick as Christian Fittipaldi in the first sector.
Mazda is a very, very stable platform. 55 car then, breaking down at... Oh, and off has gone John Pugh, just when I said he typically improves. That's my fault, curse of the commentator. He's well in the gravel trap at the exit of the carousel. No, it's turn 3, Jeremy, sorry. It's twice I've done that to him. Tyres on the grass as he was braking and trying to turn in, and has gone in sideways, and that is not coming out of there.
There's a new track record for Jonathan Bomarito. So the red officials did it. I tell you what, hats off to the officials there. They waited till those guys are on
finished their laps,
finished their laps, and before they get down to the impact area there, down in turn 3. Jonathan Bomarito then, 154.941 in car number 55. That is a new track record here in qualifying for the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship.
Now, the clock is still running, but as yet, we have not had enough green flag racing to make this qualifying session official.
You mean 10 minutes, don't we?
Yes. Now, the red flag came out approximately 7 minutes to go. That's approximately. So I reckon we need somewhere under 3 minutes. And they are going to have to hustle to get that round. Otherwise, the front of the field is going to be set by championship positions. We have got other events on the track tonight, so it's not just a question of being able to extend this session, because it's not the last thing on the track. So qualifying record as it stands to Mazda. John Pugh sitting impassively in the 60 car. Wow, quick work by the recovery team. Have already got a tow line on the number 60 car. And we are going to get back to green flag very quickly indeed, because I don't think there's any damage on the number 60 Ligier Honda, Jeremy. I think it's just a bit dusty. John will probably want to bring that back round into the pit lane. Sounds like he's got it started.
Unfortunately, he's parked it on top of the tow rope.
It's all right, they've got it out, and it's a quick release onto the tow hitch on the front, which the marshal even takes the time to take his glove off and re-fasten down with the piece of racer's tape that was there. That's people who know and understand motor racing, and thank you to all of our flag marshals, corner workers, recovery teams, as well as the volunteers around the circuit, on and near the track and behind the scenes. I'll mention again that the food concessions here, all run by local charities who are not just providing you with great food here at the circuit, and it is great food, but also all of the profits going back to very worthy local causes.
Again, hats off here to John, who is staying well off line there, trying to get the gravel out of the car, not on the racing line, and hopefully he can get that car around. He will, I presume, lose his best lap he's set so far in this session as a penalty for causing that red flag interruption. He had just done a 57.9. That was his best lap prior to the off there at turn 3.
Green flags come out, which is excellent, because that means that'll give us a couple of laps. John's not back in the pit lane yet, but the car is clearly mobile and has no problem. He won't get caught because he's so far around the track. So if he does want to peel into the pit lane, then that's fine. If he doesn't, he can carry on and do another lap. Suggest he might want to come in and check the car, but then again, time is a-ticking.
Yeah, and this should enable us to fulfill the minimum 10-minute requirement of green flag racing. So
great, smart officiating again.
Once again,
well done. So Jonathan,
teamwork all around there, wasn't it?
Yes, very good. That snatch vehicle was there in the blink of an eye. So out has gone Ricky Taylor. I think he came out behind Christian Fittipaldi. Again, they're down towards that end of things. So Fittipaldi, I think, is the first car on the circuit. Just waiting to see if John Pugh does come into the pit lane. He hasn't made it back quite yet.
Yeah, he's coming up now, I think.
Shea telling me that they are on the wall as if he's going to come back in. 55 going out very late. 60 car has to pit after that red flag, so he wouldn't be allowed to go back round. Thanks to Nick Siemens for bringing the note in from the IMSA team, and he has come into the pits.
I don't think he'll have time to get around. He might have his super fast come in, just do a quick run through and then get out again. He might have time for one more lap, but I doubt it.
if he gets out in the next 20 seconds, he's got half a chance, but he's going to have to hustle. The car has been shut off, so they're not going anywhere. Right, there goes. Oh no, he's down and away. So he's done that in 2 minutes and 8 seconds. He's got a chance here of giving one more lap. He'll drop into traffic as through goes Christian Fittipaldi, sliding the car through the exit, but keeping it much tighter than we've seen of late, and getting good drive down the hill between turns 1 through the kink of 2 and down to 3. John Pugh back out on the circuit. No harm, no foul there. He's going to have to push, though, with less than a minute and 40 seconds to go to get round to the checkered flag. Fittipaldi's got a chance for one more, you know, Jeremy.
Yep.
He might be the only one with that opportunity. Shattering turbochargers of the Mazda, breaking into the right-hander at Canada corner. The 55 car is Jonathan Bomarito. He comes around to start what will be his first flyer after the interruption and his last competitive lap with 1:03 on the clock. He's still not over the line, but here he comes underneath the start-finish gantry now, charging down towards turn 1, gets ready to shift down through the gearboxes. Left-hand fingers hovering over the shift paddle. That was very smooth through turn 1. Seen a lot of people going very wide there, Jeremy, but Bomarito just easing the car through in a beautiful progressive arc. Meantime, Fittipaldi, with half a minute left before the checkered flag comes out, will get this lap and one more. And I think he'll be the only one that gets another lap here. Action Express there, the number 5 car coming up the hill. There he goes, that's the noise behind us.
Was an improvement too, 55.6.
But that's still 7/10 of a second away, but he will get another lap, as will the 31, as will the number 10. So all of those 3 got through, and the checkered flag is out now.
Mark Goosen's improved to 56.9. John Pugh and the Delta Wing across the line. Sean Rahal didn't quite improve. He was following John Pugh across the line. He improved there. Tom Long improved, but only to a 56.021, so still only 4th quickest for number 70 Mazda.
Right, still to complete their laps, Jonathan Bomarito. And he's done the fastest centre section. Long was on a good one there, wasn't he? Personal bests in 2 and 3. Let himself down in
but almost
first
a second
sector.
down on Jonathan Bomarito.
Yes.
4/10 down in the first sector as well, so Bomarito's certainly on a good lap here.
And this, it will be his last. Here he goes. Little Mazda 4-cylinder engine, working hard. And does he improve the 54.507? He does.
Wow.
That's a new quickest time, and he goes out to 1.1 seconds ahead of the field. That's extraordinary. That's not taking pole position. That's snatching it away from everyone else and running off into the distance with it.
Half a second quicker than he managed this morning, that Jonathan Bomarito. 154.507, way inside the track record of 155.166. So more than 6/10 of a second gained there on the last couple of years then by Jonathan Bomarito. And that's a fine effort. His first pole. We've had Tristan Nunez, his teammate, on the pole twice this season, including last time out. But this time it's Jonathan Bomarito who gets the job done, does he? Christian Fittipaldi across the line does not improve.
No. And there was an improvement there for Mark Goosens.
No, he's still out there.
Oh no, he's still out there, sorry. Yes, exactly. So it's still Goosens. In fact, Goosens has now pitted. And will not complete his lap. Eric Curran didn't improve, and neither did Ricky Taylor. 55.9 for Ricky against a 55.6 that he already had. So front 2 rows will be Tom Long on the outside of row 2 with Ricky Taylor in the number 10. So Chevy and Mazda on row 2, 10 and 70, and outside of the front row, Christian Fittipaldi with Jonathan Bomarito claiming pole position again for Mazda and Speed Source in the 55. coming round
Good
on
lap
his...
there. Excuse me, by Christian Fittipaldi.
Yes, it was.
3/10 quicker than he managed this morning, and moved himself up into the second place on, as you say, on front row of the grid there for Christian. Ricky Taylor, or Jordan Taylor it was this morning, in the number 10 car for Wayne Taylor Racing, was in the second place, but not this afternoon.
3 poles this season for Mazda and the 55 team. First pole for Bomarito since he drove the Viper here in 2013.
Yeah, ALMS.
Yeah.
First pole in the IMSA WeatherTech Championship. New era. Yeah.
Nicely done. Now, can they convert that tomorrow? Shea Adam is our Continental Tire pit lane reporter, and we'll add Jonathan Bomarito to James French, Dirk Muller, and to Alex Riberas as the pole sitters that she has spoken to this afternoon. John Doonan, first man there to congratulate him. John is inextricably linked with this program, the man behind the program really for Mazda here in North America. And Shea Adam is in with a very happy Mazda 55 squad.
Well, with John Doonan first, John, you've now got 3 poles from this car from 2 different drivers. I think you picked a pretty good crew for your 55.
Well, this place is pretty special to me and my family. But we're here to win the races, and that's what tomorrow's about. Today's great. We'll celebrate a little bit tonight, but focus is on tomorrow. We've put it on pole, but we haven't told the rest of the story. We haven't told the final chapter, and that's what tomorrow is going to be about. We came here to run up front. We were surprised, disappointed with some extra weight and some less boost. And I told the boys, we're going to run up front. We're going to keep it there. And that's what this team has done throughout the last 4 years. That's what they did to come here this weekend, and that's what we're going to do tomorrow. So thanks so much.
Mazda's won at this track before in the past, so you guys can do it again. I think you've got a personal affinity for deep dish pizza from Chicago. You might want to get some of that up for the team tonight.
Well, I don't want to put any more weight on the car with deep dish pizza, but this place has been special for Mazda over the years. Tons of IMSA victories in GTU and GTO, and we'd love to put an overall victory in the record books tomorrow. Everybody on my staff, Kyle, Jim, Jade, everybody down in Turn 5, all of our guests and hospitality, and everybody on this race team has been working for 4 years to stand on the top step, and I sure pray it's tomorrow.
Good luck tomorrow. And we've finally got Jonathan with his helmet off. He's got the big smile on, and twice this year it's been your teammate. Now you finally get the hat, the sunglasses, the flag. What's it feel like?
I know, I'm tired of this guy getting all the glory, so finally let me qualify and have some fun out there. Now, the whole team's doing a great job this weekend. We rolled off the trailers really fast, a great balance. That's a tribute to Speed Source and the engineering team and the crew back at the shop and all their hard work. So, you know, a lot of work to get to this point, but tomorrow's a new day for everybody. It's going to be a hard fight.
Your last pole position was here, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it might have been in the Viper. So, yeah, it feels good to be qualifying again in another pole position.
And tomorrow, it's an easy thing. From there, you just have to start from the front. Your sister car is not going to be right next to you, unfortunately, though. How are you going to hold off all the competition going into turn 1?
Yeah, it's tough, like always. You know, we're just going to do our thing, get a good start, and just kind of manage from there, hopefully. Hopefully it goes as smooth as the rest of the weekend has gone up to this point. But, you know, it's a long race, 2 hours and 40 minutes. Anything can happen. We have a great team behind me. I feel very confident in Tristan and myself and the crew, engineering staff up on the box. So we're excited. Everybody has their head down, just super, super focused.
John mentioned the change in the BOP coming into this weekend, the boost change, having that turned down a bit. Does that affect your fuel mileage at all?
You know, I'm not sure. Kind of above my pay grade.
You'll find out tomorrow in the race.
Yeah, we'll find out tomorrow. You know, it was a little bit it was a disappointment before the weekend, but really, if anything, it just made everybody come together more, work harder, put our heads down, and we're here to try to get that W tomorrow.
Good luck.
Thank you.
It's been a long time.